Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up, my betting family? We back with another video here at No Limit Bets for the NFL Divisional Round Playoffs for Saturday, January 21st, 2023. Before we get started on today's video, I would just like to say good morning to y'all, good afternoon, whatever time it may be that you're watching this video. Hope y'all having a good one, and hopefully we can make it a better day by winning some money. Now, just to do a quick recap of not yesterday, but last week, wild card games. We were able to go 11-7 on our 18 picks, which is just not bad. It's definitely a winning record. So we like to keep those winning ways coming into the divisional round of the playoffs. So without further ado, let's get started on the picks. We're gonna go ahead and start it off with the Russian prop. We're going to take Miles Sanders over 63.5 rush yards. Now, I know he's only hit this 2 out of the last 5 games. With the game against New Orleans, he was right on it with 61. But obviously, they're going up against the Giants. This is the playoffs, and it's a different season. But against the Giants, a divisional opponent, they already faced them twice. The last game of the season was the 8th. They did play each other, but I am not putting too much on that. Can't really look at those stats as the Giants pretty much sat out all their starters. He did get 33 rushing yards, which obviously he went under. I don't believe he got too many snaps as far as in Miles Sanders. But the game on December 11th, that's the one that I'm mainly focusing on. He ended up with 144 rush yards. So he pretty much had his way. I know the Giants are more than likely going to make their adjustments for today's game. But I still think that Miles Sanders will get his 64 rush yards. I know the Eagles have so many weapons. I just think that the Giants are going to be more focused on stopping their big plays, meaning, deep threats, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts. So that should open up things for Miles Sanders, and I think he should be able to establish the run for the Eagles and getting his 64 rush yards. So we're going to rock with that for our first pick. For our second pick, we're going to go to receiving prop. And we're going to go to the first game, and we're going to take Travis Kelce over 77.5 receiving yards. With this one, can't really. I know he's only hit this 2 out of the last 5, but not really trying to focus on the last 5 games. As we all know, this is the playoffs. They did play Jacksonville earlier this season. I think it was sometime midway through the season. And I believe he ended up with like 81 receiving yards. So I think he has a good matchup against the Jags. I know this is the playoffs. Anything can happen. It's only one game. So if you have a bad game, then you go home, But I think Patrick Mahomes' favorite target is going to be Travis Kelce in this game, being that they've been through the playoffs, Super Bowl, all that together. So I think he's going to trust in him a lot, and he's going to be throwing the ball his way more times than none. He will spread it. Patrick Mahomes will spread it around. I just think that Travis Kelce obviously is his number one target and his safety blanket, so should be able to get his. So we're going to rock with the 78 receiving yards with Travis Kelce. For our third pick, we're actually going to take an under. And we're going to go to pass completions with Daniel Jones. And we're going to take the under on his 21.5 pass completions. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the Giants didn't play any other starters the last game of the seasons that they faced the Eagles. But on December 11th, they all played, and he only ended up with 18 completions. We all know Philly has top-notch secondary cornerbacks. And then on top of that, the Giants don't have any premier receivers, should I say. Yeah, they have some good receivers, but as far as in like their only deep threat is Darius Slayton, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna lock him up. Last game they played, he had 2 receptions for I think 40 yards, 41 yards. He only had 3 targets. So I just don't think Daniel Jones will get those completions. It may start to be a blowout, and he might, get those pass attempts, but I don't see the completions being there with the Giants not having a top ranked receiver, and then you add that up with the Eagles having, arguably the best secondary in the NFL. So just don't think it's going to be a good matchup, and I don't see him getting those 22 pass completions. So we're going to take the under on that. Moving on to our 4th pick, we're going to go ahead and go back to receiving prop to the Jags and Chiefs game. And we're going to take Zay Jones over 55.5 receiving yards. Now with this one, I believe when they played midway through the season on their only matchup, I believe he has 60 receiving yards with I think like 4 or 5 receptions, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said last week, we did take Jones last week. He did hit for us. He's their main deep ball threat for the Jaguars. So it really only takes just one catch, one deep ball catch for him to pretty much get this over, if not get us close to it, and then get those other catches throughout the game. So we're gonna take him 55.5 receiving yards. We're gonna take the over on that. For our 5th prop, we're gonna take a under, going back to the Giants and Eagles games. We're gonna take the under on Darius Slayton 3.5 receptions. As you guys can see, again, he did not play the last game of the season, but December 11th, he only ended up with 2 for 40 yards on 3 targets. I'm just going to be repeating myself on this one. It's just like I was saying with the Daniel Jones pass completions. I just don't see it as a good matchup. I mean, you have a top secondary going up against, not really great receivers. They're good receivers, whatnot, maybe number 2, number 3 receivers, but they don't really have a number 1 receiver on their team. The Giants do. So Darius Slayton being mainly the deep ball receiver and their main receiving target, I think the Eagles are gonna game plan for him and try to take away that deep ball. So I don't think I think he's just gonna be strapped up, and he might get a couple receptions, but 4 receptions, I don't see that happening. So we're gonna go ahead and take the under on that, and then we're also gonna take another under. I know I have 3 unders, but we're gonna take an under on a rushing prop of McKinnon under 21.5 rushing yards. Now with this one, again, it's the playoffs. I'm not really trying to look at the last 5 games, but you guys can see the last 3 games he only ended up with 6, 4, and 7 yards, rushing yards. They mainly use McKinnon on receiving yards. So if you guys can see, his receiving prop is at like 33.5 more than his rushing, even though he is considered a running back. They just utilize him as a receiving running back instead of actually rushing, because they have Pacheco as their leading rusher. So I don't see him getting these 21.5 yards. He may get a couple rush attempts, but I think the Jags will hold it down to not let him get the 22 rushing yards. So that's going to be my top 6 picks. As I said, we're going to take the over on Miles Sanders, over on Travis Kelce, and the over on Zay Jones, excuse me. And then we're going to take the under on Daniel Jones pass completions, Slayton receptions, and McKinnon rushing yards. Now, as I always say on all the videos, even if you do guys agree with any of the plays that I just mentioned, obviously do your own research. Don't just take my word for it or anybody else's. And yeah, if you don't like any of them, then obviously you don't have to pick any of them. But also, we're going to go ahead and go with the low risk, high reward, as we always do here at No Limit Bets. We're going to take the $5 and look for the possibility of getting the 125. So we're going to go ahead and place that bet. If you guys do enjoy the content, do enjoy the videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. It's truly appreciated. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video for the Sunday divisional game. So y'all have a good one, and let's get this money.